Hello and welcome to Housing TV News at the top of the hour, coming to you from our studio in the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Nimana Bagudu. Our top stories. Federal government suspends over 200 billion naira monthly on electricity subsidies. Federal Executive Council approves 4.8 billion naira for HIV treatment amid US aid suspension. Nigerian government reacts as Trump's policies impact country's health programs. Federal Executive Council approves 1.04 trillion naira for works, FCT projects. On the foreign scene, new homes built down 10% since Labour came to power in the United Kingdom. We begin with national matters. And Special Advisor to the President on Energy, Mrs. Olu Vehinjen, has stated that the federal government is subsidizing electricity supply by 200 billion naira monthly. She spoke as the government explores ways to improve supply and ensure the subsidies are delivered to the most vulnerable households. The special advisor dismissed insinuations in some quarters that the government was considering a 65% increase in electricity tariffs. Mrs. Vehinjen clarified that even with the increase in tariffs for Band A electricity consumers last year, the government still provided $500 billion in concessional loans each, alongside $70 million in grant funding from other international bodies.
The total financing of those two projects under the HOPE agenda, that is not the renewed hope, this time it is the HOPE agenda, the Human Capital Opportunities for Prosperity and Equity program. So apart from two loans of concessional loans of $500 million each, there's also $70 million in grant financing from other international bodies. So it's a total of $1 billion, I think $70 million in grant funding for the health sector.
Meanwhile, the council also approved 1.04 trillion naira for critical infrastructure projects nationwide, including major roads and bridges across states and key developments in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
But we also have the Onitsha-Owerri Expressway, which is 22 billion. We also have the Wusasa-Jos route in Kaduna State, which is 18 billion. Then also, curiously, we got approval for a reconstruction of 3 sections of Lokoja to Benin. And this approval is to be done on concrete. Graciously, the FEC approved. And that is the section 1, that is Obanaja to Benin, which is by CGC, 64 billion. There is Obanaja to section 2, which is Awuchi to Edo section, which is 110 billion. And the last section is Eho to Benin in Edo State, which is 134 billion. So total of all of them is 885 billion. And then we have one project that is in Agbogogo in Abia State with a spur in Mako in Enugu State. That is, we had to descope it within the limit of the fund that is available, and that is 12.75 billion.
President Bola Tinubu has presided over the swearing-in of newly appointed members of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, the Federal Character Commission, and the National Population Commission. Tinubu also swore in 8 former directors in the Federal Civil Service as permanent secretaries. In another development, the Federal Executive Council on Monday discussed the impact of U.S. President Donald Trump's policies on health care in Nigeria and how to ensure that Nigerians do not suffer from such. On Monday, the Federal Executive Council, presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, discussed the impact of the Trump's policies, particularly regarding HIV, tuberculosis and malaria funding, according to a statement by the President's office. The meeting then set up a multi-ministerial committee that would include representatives from the Ministries of Finance, Health, Defense, and Environment, as well as the Governors Forum. The committee was tasked with developing a transition and sustainability plan to mitigate potential funding disruptions of the health programs in Nigeria. Now, a non-governmental organization
trainings through the year, educational training that will help you gain financial independence and contribute to your communities. The church will continue to support the upliftment, encouragement, and the love towards you. It is our duty and privilege to serve as sources of hope and strength for our sisters and brothers who are in this all.
In his remarks, the leader of the Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria, the Most Reverend Musa Pantim Philippos, assured the returnees that all hope is not lost from them, as the church is ready to offer the necessary support to enable them to reintegrate back into the society. He also spared some advice to the families of the returnees and the government, who must put the right economic policies in place that will discourage illegal migration of citizens who are forced to go abroad in search for greener pastures.
We have also helped reunite several trafficked children with their families. Today, we continue our work by supporting close to 75 more individuals, equipping them with the tools they need to rebuild their lives. The government must rise to its responsibility. It is not enough to offer temporary solutions. We must tackle the root causes of illegal migration and human trafficking with a long-term, comprehensive strategy. This must include better border control measures, more accessible legal migration pathways, stronger enforcement of anti-trafficking laws, and most importantly, the creation of concrete and implementable social and economic programs that empower our citizens to thrive in their own country.
Archbishop, the Lutheran Church of Christ in Nigeria, the representatives of the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, and the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, while commending the efforts of the Symbol of Hope project, pledged their continued support for the program.
So this issue of human trafficking, migrant issues is what is pertinent to us. Any victim that is being rehabilitated without empowering the victim, both in educational empowerment or skill as acquisition, then you have not done anything. We have so many of our victims in schools, in the universities.
Some beneficiaries also expressed their gratitude to the organization.
And I also thank God Almighty as we receive all these gifts. God will open more ways for us so that we will get something to do in our life in the mighty.
You know, to start over again or to build up now. What they have done to all of us, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
The group also charged the media to continue to sensitize citizens on the antics of human traffickers as well as the danger of illegal migration. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission on Monday rearraigned former Minister of Power and Steel, Dr. Olun Agunloye, before a Federal Capital Territory High Court, APO. He was rearraigned on allegations bordering on the award of a contract for the construction of 3,960 megawatts Mambila Hydroelectric Power Station in Taraba. The anti-graft agency rearraigned him on an amended 7-count charge broadening on forgery, disobeying presidential directive, and gratification. The EFCC alleged that Agunloye awarded a contract from the Mambila project on May 22, 2023 to Sunrise Power and Transmission Company Limited without any budgetary provision, approval, and cash backing. The commission also alleged that the former minister received a total sum of 5.212 million naira from Sunrise Power and Transmission Company Limited and Leno Adesanya through Jide Abiodun Sotiri. It added that this was done through Agun Lawyers Guarantees Trust Bank account for conveying the federal government's approval for the construction of the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Station in favor of Sunrise Power and Transmission Company Limited while serving as minister. The former minister pledged not guilty to a 7-count amended charge when read to him in the court. We take a pause here. News stories from the build sector are up next. Stay with us. You're still watching Housing TV News at the top of the hour. Now to the build sector. The Federal Executive Council has approved 1.04 trillion naira for critical infrastructure projects nationwide, including major roads and bridges across states and key developments in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The approvals granted during the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the State House, Abuja on Monday covered 10 major projects under the Federal Ministry of Works and 5 significant others in the FCT. For the Federal Ministry of Works, the Council allocated 885 billion naira for the building and rehabilitation of key highways and bridges across the country. Minister of Works David Umahi announced the approvals, highlighting the government's commitment to durable road infrastructure, particularly through concrete construction. One of the largest projects approved is the rebuilding of 3 sections of the Lokoja-Benin Road, a crucial trade corridor. The project will be executed in concrete with Section 1 Obajana to Benin costing 64 billion naira, Section 2 Aochi to Edo at 110 billion naira, and Section 3 Benin Airport to Edo at 131 billion naira. Another major project is the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, Calabar through Akwa Ibom. The highway, valued at 1.334 trillion naira, has been divided into multiple sections for phased construction, with ongoing work already progressing in Lagos and Ogun State. We'll move to the FCT now, where an unregistered clinic operating in Kapwa has been shut down by the Private Health Establishment Registration and Monitoring Committee in the Guabe community of Kuje Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. In a statement signed by the Senior Special Advisor on Public Communication and New Media to the FCT Minister, Lere Olayinka, on Monday, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike announced zero tolerance for illegal health facilities in the FCT. According to the statement, Mr. Shuaibu, who introduced himself as the health worker managing the illegal clinic, was handed over to the Kuje police station. The arrest followed the visit to the community on February 2nd, 2025 by a team led by the Director, Medical and Diagnostics Department on the directives of the Mandate Secretary, Health and Environment Secretariat, Dr. Adid Dolapo Fasari. Speaking on the development, Olayinka stated that the FCT Minister is committed to ensuring safe and regulated services, noting that there was no excuse for operating illegally. In Lagos State, the state government has announced plans to remove all structures built under power lines and high-tension electric cables across the state to ensure public safety. In a statement on Monday, the Director of Public Affairs at the Lagos State Building Control Agency, Adu Ademuyiwa, emphasized that the initiative aimed to safeguard lives and property. The agency disclosed that it had issued a 7-day ultimatum for property owners to remove any structure within restricted power line corridors, warning that non-compliance will result in demolition. The Lagos State Building Control Agency's General Manager, Gbolahan Oki, reiterated that the directive aligned with the Lagos State Urban and Regional Planning and Development Law, which prohibits construction within restricted zones such as power line corridors. Oki further cautioned that failure to adhere to the directive would lead to enforcement actions, including demolition and possible legal sanctions. We go to Kano now, where 4 people have been killed at Rimin Auzinawa Ogongo local government area of Kano State, following a violent clash with security operatives over the demolition of properties. An eyewitness disclosed that the victims were reportedly shot dead by security personnel after residents resisted the demolition of their buildings. A reliable source added that the demolished structures, mostly residential buildings under construction, estimated to be around 40, had previously been marked by the Kano Urban Planning and Development Authority belonging to Bayero University, Kano. A senior Kano Urban Planning and Development Authority director, however, insisted that the demolition was carried out by the task force from the Ministry of Land and Physical Planning, confirmed that the land belongs to Bayero University, and assured that the government will issue an official statement. To wrap up Housing TV news at the top of the hour from the foreign scene, the rate of house building has dropped by 10% since Labour came to power in July, deepening the tax of increasing construction in the UK. Report found that 107,000 new homes were recorded since last July's election, with every region of England seeing a year-on-year reduction. A steepest decline was recorded in the northwest at 27%. David Hanna, Group Chairman of Cornerstone Tax, said the decision from the government to lower stamp duty bands shows a concerning deficit of housing purchase. Still on the foreign scene, the European Union says it will disburse 150 billion euro in 4 years in a bid to further enhance infrastructural development in Nigeria and other African countries through its special purpose vehicle Global Gateway Initiative. The head of Cooperation EU delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Massimo De Luca, who disclosed this during a media briefing in Lagos State, explained that the initiative is deliberately designed to enhance connectivity, promote sustainable development, and strengthen economic ties between the EU and its partner countries. De Luca, however, explained that the EU, through the Global Gateway Initiative, will focus solely on capacity building, technical assistance, and trying to lift up the capacity of the country in specific areas. And that's the much we can take and Housing TV news at the top of the hour. Before we go, a quick recap of our top stories. Federal government spends over 200 billion naira monthly on electricity subsidies. Federal Executive Council approves 4.8 billion naira for HIV treatment amid US aid suspension. Nigerian government reacts as Trump's policies impact country's health programs. The Federal Executive Council approves 1.04 trillion naira for works and FCT projects. On the foreign scene, we saw new homes built down 10% since Labour came to power in the United Kingdom. For more news in the housing sector, subscribe to Housing TV Africa on YouTube and follow Housing TV Africa on all social media platforms. Do not forget to download the Housing TV Africa mobile app on Google Play Store and Apple Store to stay connected. I am Nimona Bagudu. Bye for now and thanks for watching.
Visit Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing